Combine evaluation time, reaction show, post-combine. Where are we ranking all these players now that we've seen them out there doing their thing? Penix Jr. looked phenomenal. I'm going to shock you with where I put Penix Jr. Well, you see it right in front of your face, but like, you're going to be shocked at how I talk about him. That's right. You're seeing him now tied as the number one quarterback in this draft class. And everyone's going to say, it's May still, it's Caleb. This is how I view it. I don't know that the other teams are going to view it this way. I'm not pretending that everybody's going to come full circle and realize how good Penix Jr. is. Penix Jr. looked phenomenal. Jaden Daniels, Penix Jr., Bo Nix. This didn't change. If you remember, if you go back and watch my original quarterback ranking video, it was JD5, Penix Jr., Bo Nix, I believe Caleb Williams, May, and then JM. In that order. That's my exact order right now. Well, these three guys are tied, but that's my exact order. We go over to the running backs. Actually, let's do the intro and then get to the running backs, get to the wide receivers, talk about the quarterbacks, talk about the sum total of everything we saw during this combine extravaganza, the fantasy football show. Graveyard edition, rookie ranking edition, post-combine edition, pro day edition begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
We've got so much to break down. The combine was phenomenal. Obviously, still some combine left, but we're literally gonna just talk about how these guys have moved around so much. We're gonna talk about how Penix Jr. has climbed up my board, and he's already as high as you can almost be. But he looks so phenomenal. Let's go to the quarterbacks second. Let's go to the running backs right now and discuss the movement we may have seen in the running back rankings coming out of this combine. Now, combine should not dictate where you rank a guy. You shouldn't be looking at Xavier and his 40 time and saying I'm putting him as wide receiver 3. When is the last time a wide receiver that was record-breaking in the 40-yard dash translate? John Ross. It just doesn't translate. It never does. I'm not saying this guy doesn't have a shot. He probably has the best shot, I think, of any of the recent record-breaking wide receiver 40-time time holders of becoming something decent at the NFL level. But his frame, a lot of people don't know that it's going to fully translate. I don't know that it will. Sometimes those speedy guys, they don't have enough meat on the bone. They don't know. He's got a decent resume as well, though. So there's some hope that Xavier is going to be something kind of phenomenal. But I got the footage on my Instagram. If anybody wants to watch him break that 40-yard dash record, it's absolute 40. Look, here we go. Hold on, let me put it up. Let me see if actually, you know what? Xavier Worthy, go watch it on my Instagram, okay? If you want to see that. Wide receivers we'll get to in a minute. Running backs moved around a lot. Braylon Allen, I don't want to say Braylon Allen fell in my eyes, but he may have not climbed as much as I had hoped he would coming out of the combine, but he still has more workouts and pro days to climb up, right? So it's not like he can't gain traction again. The thing is, he's 245 pounds, 6'2". He might have weighed in differently. This is the old weight. This is a monster. This is the Derrick Henry of this entire running back class. You can't really change that in a combine. You can't change that in a workout. And I think everybody knows this. Everybody knows he's the beast of the group, and he's got an amazing track record to show for it. He's got absolute size and ability to grind it out between the tackles for some of these teams that very, very badly need an RB. They wouldn't take one necessarily in round 1. This draft class isn't that good compared to, the Bijan Gibbs values that we saw go inside the top 15 last year. Bijan number 8 overall. I don't think I don't think we're going to see maybe even one running back going round one unless it's the very tail end. I think Dallas would be smart to like move their second rounder up to like 31 to 36 to grab a Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen would thrive in Dallas. He would thrive in Baltimore. It depends on where these guys fall. If they fall well into the second round, all of a sudden we've got Braylon Allen going to one of the most potent offenses he could go to. If he falls deep into the second round, he goes to the Dallas Cowboys, goes to the Baltimore Ravens, goes to a fantastic landing spot. I still very, 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 very much love Braylon Allen as my number one. But Jalen Wright is a, let me fix this autocorrect here. Jalen Wright, 5'11", 210. Again, that was his pre-weight and height. 1,000 yards, only 4 touchdowns, but he did have, I believe, a 10 touchdown season the year prior. This guy looked phenomenal. Like, out of all the players that tested in this combine from a running back perspective, this guy looked the part. He stood out amongst all of them. He was athletic. He was moving all over the place. He looked strong. He looked poised. He looked ready. He just absolutely was bleeding. I'm a potential starting running back at the next level. I really like Jalen Wright. I really think he could be something special. And while a lot of people I think will probably stray away from him because they don't know much about him. They may not watch and pay attention much to the combine. You're not going to see him climb a lot of rankings right now. But I think as the combine performances resonate, as a lot of people start talking about the reorder and reshuffle, you'll start to see people take notice of Jalen Wright. But right now he's going to linger in the 3-4-5 territory versus the 2-3. Corum, he looked good, but he's a 5'8", 213-pound running back, stocky built, very decent size given his build, but he's a 5'8" running back that I don't know has the stature to really hold up at the next level unless he falls in the most ideal situation, most ideal being the Los Angeles Chargers. If for some reason Harbaugh gets this kid in the third round or he trades up into the late second round, Blake Corum's very much thought to be a second to probably third round guy, then he'd be in a good position. Situation is king. I think my takeaway here, I got Jonathan Brooks here because if he didn't tear his ACL, he'd be number one. And so we're kind of doing a mix of like dynasty, redraft, everything in one. If we're talking redraft only, he probably falls below all these other guys. But from a kind of mixed bag or dynasty / maybe couple year perspective, if we want to try and average it and just speak to this rookie class in general, entering the NFL, how good they're going to become, not necessarily redraft rookies, this is where he kind of feels like he belongs. And if we're looking real long term, I throw him above Blake Corum and maybe even Jalen Wright. Look, Audric Estime is a fantastic runner. If there is a sleeper in this group right here that could vault up and become the number one running back in this entire class, at least on this page of these guys right here, it would probably be this guy Estime. He's fantastic. He had 18 touchdowns in 2023. Just looks the part when you watch the footage. 1341 looked good. Just a real good I think increase in value this week. I love Audric Estime. I'm definitely on board this kid if he lands in the right spot. But you're about to hear me say something that's going to kind of tear down everything that I'm saying right now. But from running backs only, from the running back perspective only, the wide receivers, they're not very movable based on the news or what they maybe do in their pro days. I mean, we're talking about this being a cemented in, near cemented in, top 3 wide receiver class, right? You've got Odunze, Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison Jr. from 3-2-1 in most people's mind. They're cemented in. Maybe some people have Odunze over Neighbors and Neighbors over Odunze. You'll find out what I think in a second. But that's the top 3. The running backs, they're not cemented in even my mind. Nobody can know which one of these running backs is going to be the number one. Nobody. Landing spot will determine it. If Braylon Allen doesn't get a great spot, he's not going to be it. If Audric Estime doesn't get a good spot, he's not going to be the number one. If Blake Corum doesn't go to the perfect situation, even more so than the other guys, he's not going to do what everybody wants him to do. Jonathan Brooks has to stay healthy. Jalen Wright's got to land in the perfect spot. Trey Benson's got to go to the perfect location. These are all very, very strong running back options for teams that need running backs that have good offensive lines and have a good desire to plug someone in and give them full workload. But until one of these guys gets one of those landing spots via the NFL draft on draft day, we can't decide. This is the weirdest running back class I've seen in a long time. That's why I can't really, with good, strong confidence, say it's Braylon Allen. You got the number 4 overall pick and you're going, wide receiver in your draft. And then you got the number 4 pick and you're like, Smitty, which running back do I take? I'm going to tell you right now, Braylon Allen, but bro, I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody will. Landing spot will determine everything. This is just a confusing, not because we don't understand it, running back class, but confusing because it is going to be driven off of a lot of mediocre talent that's almost good, or good talent, not elite, that's going to funnel into some elite situation. And one of these guys, good talent, will be pulled into almost great to elite talent. That's the way it works. As I say a lot, Arian Foster was not an elite running back. He was good. Really good. Really good. And that was one of my biggest bold predictions ever that I put on NBC Sports Radio, or one of the biggest ones I landed, really. I'd been on the radio for 7 or 8 years at that point on CBS and NBC, but that was my biggest land. Like, I smashed the hell out of that prediction. He was a 6th, 7th round pick. I said he'd be a top 1 to 5, not top 5, top 1 to 5. I loved Arian Foster, but I recognized that I loved him. He was good, near great. In an elite situation, he was going to be elite. These guys need to have an elite situation. There's just no arguing here. I don't even know that I'm going to dance around too much on the running backs. This is why I've been taking so long to come out with my running back video. I just don't know how we can come away with anything but landing spot will determine it. And I hate to say that. If you're going to make me say, okay, you're going to do your draft before the NFL draft, that's dumb. But if you're going to do it, so be it. I'm going to say take Braylon Allen. I'm going to say take a swing at the biggest monster in this draft class, 6'2", 245. Even if he doesn't go as the number 1 running back, even if he doesn't go as the number 2 running back. We've seen before where the day 2 running backs, if there are day 1 running backs, and this might just be day 2 running backs, but you get my drift, maybe 3rd round and 4th round over 2nd round. We've seen where the day 2 running back landing spot's better than the day 1. We walk away from day 1, 1st round's over, everybody goes, oh my God, this guy didn't get drafted. What are we going to do? He didn't get drafted. And then the next day, day 2, the 2nd round delivers one of the best landing spots for one of the running backs that got overlooked. That's probably what is going to happen at some point for Braylon Allen. I think wherever he goes, even if he's the 3rd or 4th running back taken, 2nd running back taken, 5th running back taken, it could be a team that needs him bad. It could be the Dallas Cowboys that didn't get Barkley, didn't get Henry. They took a chance that they would go and find a rookie running back. Or maybe the Baltimore Ravens do that. Maybe the Buffalo Bills do that. Maybe the Cincinnati Bengals are rolling with nobody right now. Chase Brown, we'll do it, right? We'll just roll with it and hope we get somebody. And then all of a sudden, Braylon Allen finds himself in Cincinnati. That's going to deliver the number 1 running back, plain and simple. That's going to deliver the number 1 running back, plain and simple. As for the wide receivers, I'm sorry, we're not done with the running backs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, tied for 4th, so 4, 5, 6. So we're going to go on to running back 7, Bucky Irving, running back 8, Frank Gore, and running back 9, Marshawn Lloyd. As of this moment right now, Frank Gore is the dark horse running back in this draft class that if he goes to the right spot, I am going to jump all over that value. I'm going to draft him. I'm already drafting him on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, over and over and over and over and over again. Completely smashing the hell out of where's that page? Smashing the hell out of this value. Right now, I'm getting him at 2. I think he's ADP on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. I think his ADP is around something like 220 overall. So nobody should be taking him any earlier. I think that if you're trying to dig for that deep dark horse, I don't want to say H-hand or prop him up that much, but just say that this is the guy that you're looking for. This, like, you're talking about, like, stab in the dark. The Tank Dell of the RBs is Frank Gore Jr. You know Frank Gore, San Francisco 49er great. You know Frank Gore. This is his son. And his son looks very much like him. You watch Frank Gore run, he looks unbelievable. This Frank Gore Moon Man material, absolutely 100%. Like, could he be on the Moon Man tomorrow? Ray G, absolutely. If I had to pick one guy to explode out of this entire, deeper grouping of running backs, even outside, the 4th and 5th guy, like four on, from anywhere from like 4 on or 5 on, it's Frank Gore Jr. This is the guy I want. This is the guy I'm scooping up everywhere. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. Depends on where he goes. Depends on what happens. Depends on how teams view his draft capital. There's a lot of times, a lot of people will say, no team's going to invest in a guy they draft past round 2. It happens. It's not always about that. So it's going to be phenomenal to watch Frank Gore land in an amazing spot and see if he can climb up and grab a hold of the job. Pull a Kyron Williams. If there's that's the better example. If there's a Kyron Williams in this lot, it's probably Frank Gore Jr. But again, wrapping up the RBs, I'm just going to say this is not concrete at all. Jonathan Burks could go right back to my number 1 if we get good reports and these other guys are falling flat. Trey Benson can climb all the way to 3 or 2. Jalen Wright could climb to 1 or fall to 4. This is just a mediocre class. Anybody that claims they've got some sort of lock on this thing, it's not that good of a class. You don't have a lock on it. No one has a lock on it. It's not that good of a class. It's very dependent, absolutely dependent on landing spot. And that's just the way it is. Anything else is just a very, very blind guess, dart throw with the blindfold on, throwing mud at the wall. I can only tell you that based on talent, because that's the only thing we can go on, but talent's not necessarily going to translate because ADP, landing spot, all that's going to matter. I think Braylon Allen is just the best running back. I think Gore's the best value. I think Braylon Allen's the best running back. Now, did Braylon Allen have the best combine? No. I think Jalen Wright had one of the best combines of the RBs. Blake Corum looked good in a lot of ways. Trey Benson had some good moments for sure. But this is not necessarily about the combine. The combine doesn't make or break you. Malachi Corley didn't even, to my knowledge, test or work out, and I don't know why he did that. If he's going to do it in workouts and treat himself like, hey, I'm gonna not work out if Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to work out, I'm not going to work out. Like, that's what Corley basically did today. Tried to put himself in that bucket, and I applaud him for trying. Let's see how that works out. But combines don't necessarily make or break these situations. They're helpful, they're useful, they can help teams see maybe a difference that they couldn't see on film. You get to talk to these kids. That's probably the more important part about everything. But this is a crazy group of RBs. We go to the wide receivers, very much easier to determine. And what I saw to Rome Odunze today is just more of the same of what I've been watching and preaching and speaking on. And he's my number 2 wide receiver. This is not a knock on Neighbors. Doesn't mean I don't like Neighbors. You can't say I'm sleeping on Neighbors. You can't say I don't like Neighbors at all or that I'm hating on Neighbors. That is not that conversation, pal. This is about me liking Marvin Harrison Jr., 6'4", 205-pound Ohio State wide receiver, and Rome Odunze, Washington Husky wide receiver that's 6'3", 215 pounds. 2 prototypical monsters that are they've just proven commodities. And I loved what I saw out of Odunze today. The guy's straight line ability during running routes, his good hands, his tenacity to stay after on the cones and try and better his time when everybody had walked off and gone into the locker room. This guy's sitting on the field, running and doing plays and trying to recapture what he didn't capture during the combine, even though he did capture a lot, looked fantastic. I think Rome is going to be an absolute savage at the next level. I think he's the closest thing to Jamar Chase if I had to comp him to something. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a combination of 10 different wide receivers. He's my number one, but if, let's say, he landed in New York for whatever reason, some crazy turn of events, and Rome lands in Arizona in some crazy turn of events, a trade down of sorts or something with New York, whatever the case may be, and the Arizona Cardinals end up drafting Odunze, he plays with Kyler, and Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Giants because they trade up and get the Cardinals 4 pick, whatever the case may be, right? If that happened, your boy would have Rome Odunze in redraft as the number one wide receiver in this draft class. Now, not from Dynasty because quarterback situations change, but good God, Rome Odunze looks like a phenomenal up-and-coming Jamar Chase caliber player if all goes well. Neighbors has a lot of talent. He reminds me of Amari Cooper meets and I don't want to just leave it there because I think he's better than Amari Cooper, but Amari Cooper meets maybe got a handful of different players as well. He's a good player. Very, very good player. You could almost say like I'm gonna say AJ Brown meets Amari Cooper, like a combination, because he's not AJ Brown, but like an AJ Brown meets Amari Cooper, and you merge the two together in some sort. Like that's how I kind of feel about Malik, the way he can go get a ball. He's a deep threat. I like Malik Neighbors a lot. I love him. But Odunze moved to my number 2, and that's not a rip on this guy at all. These are 3 absolute savages, and they're going to be potential, all 3 of them, top 12, top 14 wide receivers in the National Football League, 2 of which will be top 8, 1 of which could be 1 to 5, and it's probably this guy. But don't rule out this guy of being the next Jamar Chase. He's an absolute monster. These guys, this is so much different than the running back class. The running back class, as I showed you, looking at even the top, 1 to what was it, 6? I don't know. I don't know. It's not that I don't have my evaluation, but I have no idea how it's going to play out. I do know how the wide receivers will play out because it doesn't matter where they go. They're probably going to survive. But the running backs are dependent on situation. I don't know who's going to survive. Nobody does. I can only tell you that Braylon Allen is my favorite prototypical 6'2", 245-pound monster, and the rest of these guys, minus Jonathan Brooks, who's coming back from an ACL tear, they don't quite do it for me. I like Jalen Wright, I do, but he doesn't quite have that it factor for me as much as Braylon Allen. And I don't care about broad jump or things that might have turned people off and away from Braylon Allen. I thought he was going to do a little bit better at the combine. I'm not going to lie, but what I see on film is not lying. My eyes don't lie to me. This is the man. But I don't know. I don't know that he's going to be able to do it. You know what? Okafor, I'm done with Okafor. Okay, so let's go over to wide receivers 4 through 6. Okay, wide receivers 4 through 6. Brian Thomas Jr. goes out and looks like an absolute monster. Goes out, runs fast, looks unbelievable, catches. He's 6'4", he's 205. And I guess I asked the question, is it a lock that Neighbors will be better than him? I'm not saying I rank him higher. Clearly, I have Neighbors 3. But this kid's going to be unbelievable. And it's not crazy to envision him being 2 or 3 in this wide receiver class when it's all said and done. Ladd McConkey, love the kid. I love him even more now. Sometimes a guy moves up my board real quickly when you see him at the combine doing his thing, showing his speed, showing his hands. 6 foot, 100. And I don't know if he weighed in higher than 185. I forget what the combine weight was, but this guy showed poise, he showed hands, he showed quickness, he showed good route running, he showed it all. And I think teams are going to be very, very intrigued by him, and he's going to go to a good spot. So more than anything with the running backs, right? The running backs are tough. The running backs are tough because bad landing spots could screw everything up. Bad landing spots could turn everything upside down. With McConkey, with some of these guys, they're going somewhere good. They're definitely going somewhere good. Malachi Corley not wanting to participate in the combine at all was a little crazy. But I don't think it'll affect too much as long as he comes out and has good workouts and shows out. Then he's going to be phenomenal. Keon Coleman didn't run fast at all, but when he got on the field and ran his drills and did his workouts, he's faster than anybody according to some of the miles per hour data. And in and out of his routes, he was as quick as anybody, if not the number one wide receiver in terms of speed when he was on the football. So his football speed is so much greater than his 40 time. His 40 time was awful. And we were thinking, oh my God, when he ran the 40, like, this guy is slow. What's going to happen? He goes out on the field. They measure all the metrics in terms of, running routes, cutting cone drills, everything. And he's running quicker in all of the drills than anybody else. It's unbelievable how some players can be phenomenal in gameplay and game speed and not good at 40 times. So Coleman's good. Coleman can climb all the way to the third or fourth wide receiver. It really just depends on where he goes. I still feel like there's some question marks for me. I get a weird vibe. I don't get a top 1 to 2 or 3 wide receiver vibe from this draft class when I look at Coleman, especially when I watch film over and over and over on him. But I don't. He just doesn't look as coordinated. Like it's not that I hate him. I don't think he's a bust. I'm not saying that at all. Could he be as good as Amari Cooper is someday, to use Amari Cooper as another example? Yeah, I think Keon Coleman could become as good as Amari Cooper is right now. I don't think that's a bad evaluation. Or could he reach the heights of Jalen Waddle? Like, sure, that's not a bad evaluation. That's not bad at all. Could Malachi Corley become Tank Dell? Yeah, I think he could. Could Lab McConkey become Puka Nacua? Probably not. It's probably never going to happen again to the degree it did. I know everybody wants Lab McConkey to be Puka Nacua. I know everybody wants to find the next Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua was a fairy tale that came to life. He was Pinocchio that somehow came to life wishing upon a star. And it's probably never going to happen again. But can Lab McConkey become Edelman? Can Lab McConkey become the next big, elite wide receiver, late wide receiver 2 that people draft? And he's a good wide receiver 2. Damn good wide receiver 2. Absolutely depends on where he goes. Malachi Corley, same thing. Keon Coleman, same thing. Again, awkward running. Don't love him. Don't love him, but don't hate him. Is he a bust? No. No. He's not a bust at all. He's not going to bust out of the league, but is he a top 5 or 10, top 5 to 10, top 12 NFL wide receiver someday? No. Could Brian Thomas Jr. be? Maybe. Locked and loaded? No, absolutely not. Could he be? Absolutely. Could he be top 6 to 10 in fantasy football someday? Absolutely could. Will he be for sure? No. Could he be top 3? Rome Odunze? Absolutely could. Is he locked in there? No. Malik Neighbors, is he locked in there? No. Marvin Harrison Jr., is he locked in there? Even Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't locked into anything. There's no guarantees in life except for moon men and Mars men rising up every single year. That's the only guarantee you're ever going to get in life. And that Smitty's going to have a rant or 2 every single show that he's doing. Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors, and these are probably the best almost guarantees you could find. But Coleman just doesn't do it for me at the value everyone's putting him at. 3, 2, 4 overall. I think I slotted him fine. This is not a bust. It's not a bust. This is maybe Amari Cooper, which is a very good wide receiver. A guy that can play as a wide receiver 1 sometimes, for sure. Xavier Legette, I really like Legette a lot. This 6'3", 227-pound monster. He's phenomenal. I think he goes to the right spot. He's going to explode. I think he's got a lot of little things he needs to work on, but I think he will. He's a big body. He reminds me of DK Metcalf. He plays a lot like DK Metcalf. He looks a lot like DK Metcalf when he runs his routes. He jumps up and grabs contested balls a lot like DK Metcalf. He stops his routes and runs very, very strong routes for the size that he is like DK Metcalf. This South Carolina wide receiver is a phenomenal player. that in the right spot could be electric, and he's a steal in this territory. As you can see, a guy I love Xavier Legette. I've talked about Xavier Legette all the time, and I can't even squeeze him into my top like 6 or 7. You're going to get him as a steal. He's going to be, unless he goes to the most ideal spot and climbs everybody's wide receiver 3 or 4, he's going to be had at the end of the first round very, very, very easily. Quarterbacks. So wide receivers to recap. Odunze moved to my 2. I love him. It doesn't mean I hate Neighbors. Brian Thomas Jr. almost moved to tie with Neighbors at number 3. I almost moved Brian Robinson Jr. I still might. Right next to his boy Malik Neighbors. And you can say whatever the hell you want. Lab McConkey squeezed into the top, the next grouping of 3 or 4 guys. But Malachi Corley, Xavier Legette, they still remain where they are. And Keon Coleman needs to be in the 5, 6, 7 conversation almost no matter what, because he's very solid. He runs good routes. He's got amazing game speed, but he just something about him. I don't know that he can ever be as good as some of these other guys at the next level, but that's just my take. Again, running back recap. It's all about landing spot. These are cemented in nowhere. I haven't cemented one of these guys in at all. Braylon Allen is the only guy that I want to cement in, but I can't because landing spot is everything. And Frank Gore Jr. on the 7, 8, 9 list is my favorite player. Really anywhere past the 5 or 6 at any position, Frank Gore is the guy I love the most. Let's go to the QBs real quick. So QBs, this might be shocking to a lot of people. It's Jaden Daniels, JD5, number 1, but tied now with Penix Jr. Penix Jr. was phenomenal. Penix Jr. was phenomenal.
Junior was phenomenal is a nickname of a high school prospect.
Ziggy, off. I didn't ask him, but that's right. He was absolutely near perfect tonight. Penix Jr. did everything that I've been talking about over and over and over. His medicals came in great. His throws were accurate. His spirals were on point. His touch was on point. The announcers couldn't get their hands off of him. This guy, Penix Jr., absolutely came out and crushed it. Penix Jr. is a monster. 46-48, 35 touchdowns, 9 INTs, only 9 INTs. He protects the football. He makes amazing plays. His accuracy and touch are unbelievable. And he's a gunslinger. Give me Penix Jr. to Atlanta, and I give you a monster fantasy football season right out of the gate.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, buddy.
Give me Michael Penix Jr. in Las Vegas, and I give you a Devontae Adams top 5 to 7 wide receiver season immediately.
Mashed potatoes.
Give me Michael Penix Jr. in a handful of these situations. Let's call it Minnesota with JJ. Because let's say Cousins goes elsewhere. I'll take it. Decade of Penix Jr. to JJ. Let's do it live.
Mashed potatoes.
JD5 didn't drop at all. The guy's going to the moon. He's a Saturn man, for goodness sake. I'll show you if you don't believe me.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man,
One giant leap for Saturn. But guess who is a Mars man?
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
Oh, Moon Man.
Mars man.
The Moon Men.
Penix Jr.
Loads in outer space.
I don't know if Braylon Allen's going to stay on here, by the way. Odunze, he might move to the Mars man list. Penix Jr.
Space Monsters.
Penix Jr. Absolute phenom. Absolute phenom. I didn't drop Daniels at all. I didn't drop him at all. I just merely put Penix Jr. up right with him on the same stage, sharing a trophy. These two are my top quarterbacks. Bo Nix looked phenomenal, in my opinion. Bo Nix was good. Bo Nix in the right spot. Put Bo Nix in Atlanta. Put him in LV. Put him in one of these situations, Minnesota. Put him in Seattle. Penix Jr. in Seattle. I give you a playoff, a team that could win multiple playoff games during Penix Jr.'s rookie year in 2024.
Mashed potatoes.
Seattle. Give me Seattle for Penix Jr. Give me Minnesota for Penix Jr. Give me Atlanta. I'll tell you what, Penix Jr. could not even do a pro day, and he's going in the top 16 based on what he did alone today. And all the doubters will continue to double down. The double down Donnies are going to say, no, Penix Jr. didn't do it. He looked phenomenal. If you didn't think Penix Jr. was on point all day long, and so many clubs and people close to this situation, other GMs, other coaches in college football said this guy is just money. He's just money. And his own team, Washington, talked about him on all different levels from different people inside that club, saying that this guy would go to the coach and say, this is what I saw. And the coach would be like, I don't know if that's what happened. They go watch the film. He's always right. They win games because of his ability to be astute. They win games because his ability to have a lot of options involved. And as the announcers were saying today during his pro day, this guy's just loaded with quick decision-making and processing ability, given how complex his system could be. And the OC in Washington, Ryan Grubb, the guy that coached this guy up all last year as the OC in Washington, guess where he just got an OC job in the NFL? The Seattle Seahawks. Guess where Penix Jr. is going if these teams somehow don't see the value in Penix Jr. Penix Jr. is going to Seattle to play with his OC from Washington. They're going to meet back up and do it live.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
Monsters. Monster. Love Bo Nix. Give me Bo Nix in a ton of different places. Bo Nix is going in the top 15. Now, the crazy part about the world right now, it doesn't seem right. It seems upside down. I don't know why JJ McCarthy's getting so much love. I don't feel like JJ McCarthy looks as good or near as good as Jaden Daniels or Penix Jr. or Bo Nix. Why do I have him tie here? Because I do think he does look as potentially as good, even though obviously Caleb wasn't doing anything. I'm not saying he caught him because Caleb didn't do anything at all but speak and get yelled at, and a lot of people asking him crazy questions. But JJM looked okay. He did. He looked okay at times. He didn't look great the entire time, but he looked really good at times. But I don't like him. I don't see an elite quarterback. Do I see somebody that could linger in the league for a while? Yeah. Is he Jimmy Garoppolo capable? Be a starter for a couple years? Maybe not trick the team into thinking he's good enough, but like a system guy? Absolutely. Why? Because he was a system guy. He didn't do anything at Michigan all that much. And I know a lot of people say, you know, like the caller the other night was like he get taken out of the game in the third quarter. They'd be up so big. And I get all that. I factor it in, but I still don't feel it. And I'm not going to make assumptions off of things we can't see. And if he didn't do it, he didn't do it. You know, it doesn't matter if he was out of the fourth quarter a lot of games. It's like he didn't do it. He has no track record of doing it, being elite. When I say do it, I mean being elite. He has no track record of being consistently elite. And I'm going to put him over this monster Penix Jr. that's throwing dimes out there on the field during the combine after everybody's doubting him over and over. A guy whose medicals came back phenomenal. This guy Bo Nix, who's as good as any of them. He's got the most experience out of every single quarterback here. Bo Nix is probably bringing the most NFL-ready resume to the table. And Jaden Daniels is Lamar Jackson 2.0. I predict he's better than Lamar Jackson. I've said that over and over. Some Calebs get upset in the chat. The angry Anguses come in and go, you just say LOL laughing emoji, sideways laughing emoji, sideways laughing emoji, sideways laughing emoji. Did you just say that JD5, a guy who's never played an NFL snap because scared money makes money? Yeah, you're saying that JD5 is going to beat Lamar Jackson? Yeah, I'm saying he's going to be better than Lamar Jackson. Scared money don't make money. You want to sit around and wait for things to come true before you start predicting and banking on things. This isn't the show for you, pal. You want safe Sammy. He's over there. This ain't no safe Sammy show. This is, we put our cojones on the table sometimes. I don't hit everything. I'm not pretending to. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, maybe JD5's better than Lamar. I better wait. No, I feel it, bro. I feel it. It's going to happen. We're going to do it live. JD5 to the freaking moon.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
I just don't know what to do here. I just don't know where to rank these guys. I very, very much feel like it really just needs to be landing spot that determines, just like the running backs. Caleb Williams in Chicago is why he's here in this tied for fourth area. That's going to make so many Caleb Williams fans, they're just going to go, oh my God, the moment I saw Caleb Williams wasn't in the top 3, I turned the channel off. Good. See you later. I can't please everybody. I refuse to please everybody. And not only that, this is how I feel. So maybe I'm too crazy for you. I don't know. It's okay. No one's forcing you to watch the show, Bob. But Caleb Williams, I think, busts in Chicago. Or even if he doesn't bust, he has a very strong chance of busting in Chicago under a Shane Waldron offensive coordinator. A horrible decision by Poles. If they keep him, if it's all smokescreen, great job, Poles. Great job making your quarterback feel like he's expendable at the cost of the relationship between him and you and the team and his confidence. You placated Fields and got a little bit more value, maybe not, for your draft pick. You got the number 1 overall pick. You don't need to play games. People will overpay for it if you want to get rid of it. Very, very easily with this quarterback class. You'll have no problems playing around with Fields' emotions and confidence to say, maybe we'll trade him, maybe we don't. If that is what you're trying to say, Caleb. I can't use Caleb anymore. Bob. If that's what you're trying to say, Bob, then you didn't get me. Oh, you don't know football. You don't know ball. It's just a smokescreen. You don't understand what I'm trying to say. That's worse than trading Justin Fields. Holding him after everything you haven't said is detrimental to his growth, confidence, and development. And then you hand him over to Shane Waldron? Shane Waldron's going to either fail Caleb or fail Fields. So why not throw, in my mind, the quarterback I like the least into the Chicago Bears system and see if he can get himself out. And maybe he will it. I'll give him much respect if he can stay afloat while they replace everybody involved 1 year later. Because Shane Waldron is going to fail, in my opinion. Caleb Williams, who needs a whole lot of nurturing and some sort of expert to get everything out of him. And I don't think Shane Waldron's bad. I don't think he's horrible. I don't think he's a bust of an OC. I just think he'll bust in this situation. Because I don't think he's good enough to maintain and handle some of the things that are going to be thrown his way on either the development of Fields and rejuvenate Fields or the development and cultivate of Caleb Williams. Both of these are challenges I don't know that he's equipped to handle. So Caleb, to me, until he goes to Washington to play with Kingsbury, his former QB coach from just last year at USC. That's right, Ryan Grubb, Washington OC from last year. Penix Jr.'s OC goes to Seattle. Maybe Penix Jr. goes to Seattle. Kingsbury, the QB coach for Caleb last year at USC, he goes to Washington. If Caleb goes there, I'm back on board to a certain degree for sure. Because I think he can get the most out of him. I think it's about, a lot of it is about fit. A lot of it is about fit. Drake May could go to number 3 over Bo Nix if he found an elite situation and Bo Nix didn't. I don't want this to be a, oh, Smitty hates Drake May video. I also, no offense to him, but like the last time I trusted, somebody that looked like they couldn't rent a car, it was Zach Wilson. And so I feel a little burned. But at the same time, like Drake May in a great situation and Bo Nix in a questionable one would have me saying, hey, Don't worry, Drake. I'll pick you up. I'll give you a ride to the airport. You're going to be the number 3 overall rookie quarterback in this 2024 rookie quarterback class. But right now, JD5, Penix Jr., Bo Nix, tier break. You can like it. You can hate it. It's not really my job to convince you to like it or hate it. I'm just here to tell you my take. And I think there's a tier break between JD5, Penix Jr., and Bo Nix. And I think really there's a tier break between Daniels and Penix Jr. A little one, but landing spot could close that gap and put them all on even playing field. A landing spot could put Penix Jr. number 1, Daniels number 2, and Bo Nix number 3. That's how important landing spot is. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Let's have a conversation about these rookies. Let's talk about the combine. Let's talk about how good you think this entire class could be. Let's talk about what you might disagree with and why. That's fine. We don't always have to agree. I just don't. I just think this is a very crazy class to rank, and the discrepancy between everyone's rankings are going to always be far and wide. And that's okay, because this is why we play. There's no guarantees of any kind in this game we call fantasy football at all. Phone line's right there in front of your face. Dial in. Appreciate all of you being here tonight. Hit that thumb up button on the way in the door. Ray G in the building. Sam, the Fremp, Philly, Avery in the house. What's up, Roger? Caleb is a legend, is in own mind, says Roger. Caleb wants a veteran max deal, says Ray G. DeBalt says, I don't know about May. Knicks over May, but this is pretty spot on. That's okay. We're not going to have the exact same ranking. Nobody could. Nobody could have the exact same ranking. Not with all this, especially not even with one of these positions, man. It's just crazy. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. Zach Wilson is a great example of a QB looking great at the combine, but doesn't transfer exactly. Zach Wilson, you can rip on him all you want and pretend like you didn't think he had any talent at all, but that's just not the way it was for the majority of people, even people that knew what they're doing. And I take pride on knowing the quarterback very, very well. That's one thing I land very, very successfully. And I thought Zach Wilson had the ability. I didn't think he was a lock, but I thought he probably felt about as locked in as, like, let's say, Knicks. You know, and I'm very high on Knicks, but I could be wrong on him. That's about how good. Maybe even more than that. Zach might have had a little bit more upside than that, feeling-wise, that year. Crazy. Knicks was solid. Knicks was very good today. Knicks upped his draft stock a ton. Penix Jr. exploded his draft stock upward after today. Penix Jr. couldn't have had a better combine. Maybe he didn't throw one of those, I think, very few incompletions, if he even threw one, and it probably wasn't even his fault. That's the only thing he could have fixed. I mean, God, he was fantastic today. I mean, Penix Jr. just proved all the doubters wrong today. And if you don't think he did, then you're just a hater. You just can't admit what just happened. The ball, maybe, but I think he could thrive in the right situation. I don't know who we're talking about.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Your boy is potentially trying to drink one of these a day. It's such a hard task for me. So this is a Stanley. I was given this as from Miss Smitty so I could drink more water. So it's one of the, the kids love them, the Stanleys, right? And this is a lot of water for me. I filled this up 3 days ago. I haven't drinking yet, so I got some work cut out for me. Let's see if we can finish. I want to say it's like right here. So 3 days I got it here. I need to drink more water. My goal is to pound one of these a day. One of these a day. Let's go ahead and try and chug a little. All right. There we go. What about QB from Tennessee? Levis, what about him? Purdy is great because of his mental, says Theo. Purdy's good. He's definitely smart. But I'm not calling Purdy great yet. You know, like Purdy's great because he's not great yet. He's got an upside for sure. He's got upside for sure. I like him quite a bit. What's up, Theo? Hello? Hello?
You're on mute, brah.
Hello? I don't know, Theo. Not sure what's going on with you, pal. Milton. Milton looked good at times. I mean, you know, is he just a circus act? You know, to throw big, long, 73-yard bombs downfield? I don't know. We'll find out. But I do know Joe Milton climbed into the Rattler tier. You know, right after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks, right? Tier break. And then it's Rattler and maybe Milton. And a couple others, but Milton climbed into the Rattler tier. I think Rattler's still the next guy up, in my opinion. But yeah, Smitty went to ASU and didn't learn to chug beers. I did, but this is not a beer, bro. And it's got a little like you know, this is not shot. I can't shotgun this. What's up, Theo? Hello?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what are you doing, bro?
Oh, my connection was cutting out. I couldn't hear you for some reason.
What's up?
I just wanted to hear a little something about your thoughts on Bowers. I know you've already talked about him, but I want to see if you have any more, like, what you thought about his interview, or
I mean, he did. There's not much that you could damage, right? You know, when you don't really want to do anything, especially when you're head and shoulders above everybody else. So the whole thing of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb, you know, I know you're kidding, friend. What are they hurting? They're not hurting anything. I think that if the problem could be is if you go out and screw up during your pro day and you're trying to accomplish, you know, something, then you're leaving yourself little opportunities. It's kind of like, you know, when a team's kicking a field goal and they run it down to 1 second instead of leaving themselves 3 seconds in case they fumble the snap and they can take a timeout or something like that. You know, but then again, like even if Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't even have a pro day, he'd probably still be the number 1 wide receiver taken. But if he got hurt, then who knows? But you know, he almost can't hurt his value. Now Caleb thinks he's immune, but I think because the top quarterbacks kind of all went the same direction, they all kind of stayed the same. You know what I mean? Like it was almost like if Caleb was the only one that didn't participate in the combine, he could have got passed over. But because they all were scared of Penix Jr. and Bo Nix climbing up into the tier of 3, which is Daniels, Caleb, and May. Some say JJ McCarthy too, but really the top 3 is May, Caleb, and JD as of this moment. I think it's gonna be potentially be different. I think what Penix Jr. and Bo Nix did today, it wasn't like, hey, here's the JV team. They look good too. It was, man, you know, this looks like a guy that could have sat out today as well. Penix Jr. looked like a guy that should have been in the same tier, but he was there. And he gave everybody an extra look. He gave everybody a look at his medicals. He cleared all that with flying colors. He went out and looked phenomenal, had a near perfect pro day. I'd say Penix Jr. had the best pro day out of everybody. Well, Xavier Worthy, but I don't. He's like a buck. What does he weigh? Like $150?
165.
Yeah, I mean, I know Tank Dell proved, you know, you can be a little guy, but I mean, I love Tank Dell.
He's the same weight as Tank Dell, but he's also over an inch taller.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the translation is not always there with these speed guys. There's a reason for it too. It's not just like luck or bad luck or just like weird circumstance. Like, You know, he's a speed guy. He's I don't know. I don't know that he's necessarily going to translate. We'll have to see. I like him. I'm certainly not going to run away from him. I'm not predicting a bust out of Xavier Worthy, but I think if anybody, I think it's almost a curse, you know, to have the number one time as a wide receiver that's not really hyped up heading into the combine. It feels good. He had the best day of his life. I mean, he wouldn't trade this for anything. He was the belle of the ball. But, like, it doesn't – he may have made him wide receiver 4 or 5 because teams don't understand that doesn't necessarily translate. Everybody wants a weapon. Now, you could put him on special teams too, though, and maybe he ends up being an amazing kick returner for you or something. But, you know, he's not a locked and loaded elite wide receiver at the National Football League level. I think some teams will pass on a guy that's, like, way more concrete. I mean, I could look at it – let's see. I could see teams passing on Brian Thomas Jr. and taking Xavier Worthy, thinking, "Oh, we're really getting something here," and they're passing on an absolute elite talent in this kid. You know, that's crazy. If he goes number 4, I've heard that a lot. Xavier Worthy may have climbed to the 4th wide receiver taken spot prediction. And that would be ahead of all these guys you're looking at on screen. It's crazy. That's insane. He was not. That's the one lesson I'll teach people: never let the combine alter your course to any sort of crazy degree. Only let the combine accent and help guide you in a direction you were already leaning or wanting to go, or just waiting for a certain, you know, piece of information to help nudge you over a fence. Don't be sitting there having no direction for the certain player, and then the combine makes you go, "Oh, I'm taking them," or now they're 5 spots above where they were. That's not the way a combine should be used. It's an accent. It's a tool. It's a accoutrement. It is not a freaking be all end all of where someone's value should go. And that's a funny thing about the combine is 2 or 3 or 4 teams are going to be so tempted to pull the what was it, Rager, the Eagles? Didn't the Eagles draft Rager over JJ, right? Yeah. And they're like, "We'll take Jalen Rager." And the Minnesota Vikings were like, "They passed on JJ." And they have this footage of him like absolutely laughing and just appalled that they did that to JJ, and they're like, we got him, and they take Jalen Rager over, like, and same thing with Justin Ross, same thing with Henry Ruggs, same thing with time and time again. You know, Thomas, I'll take him over that every single time.
The things that disappointed me the most were JD5 not weighing in and Corley not running the 40.
Yeah, I don't, not weighing in. I think what the problem is he's not a small guy. He's tall. I get it. He's a little slender on the slender side for his height, but he's not a small guy at all. But I think he knows that if he weighed in and somebody had concrete, tangible numbers, it would start a potential downfall of his value. Right now, he's flying high. So when you don't weigh in, you can speculate all you want, but no one cares right now. I don't care. Nobody cares. No one's talking about it. No one's going, "Oh, JD5 didn't weigh in. He weighs exactly this amount." No one cares. If he did weigh in under, people would start panicking a little bit. But I don't know why you would, because he's not short by any means. He's still a tall guy. It's crazy to me. He plays at a certain weight. He wants to play at that weight. He's going to naturally put on NFL pounds. You're eating NFL food from an NFL cafeteria. You're getting fed all kinds of different meals, and you're doing double the workouts, and you got better trainers, and you have nutritionists, and you have things you've never had before. You're going to gain a natural 5 to 10 NFL pounds, so he'll be fine. I have no doubt about it. When people say JD5's too small, I laugh.
He's not small. I just wish he would have weighed in. Like, I don't think it would have changed too much if he
why
did weigh in.
Why do you wish it, though? Like, who cares? If it would have hurt his value, then why would you have wanted it?
I mean, I guess I just, like, it's, I don't know. players being scared is just like kind of turns me away from them like ever so slightly. It's not like a big deal. Or
you got to remember, it's their camp. They've hired a team of people that handle everything, and you got to listen to them. Otherwise, you know what I mean? So it's like he trusts the people he hired. That might be a mistake they make. It's not like he can't overrule them, but at the same time, he trusts his team, right? And his team's like, hey, believe me, if you don't weigh in, you're going to get paid more money. At the end of the day, you're going to get drafted higher. You're not going to slip. And then he's like, okay, you convinced me. I won't weigh in. And it didn't do anything negative. I mean, it may have made you want to have a closed book on this, but it doesn't change anything right now. And he may I heard he may weigh in though during his pro day. So like, what's the big deal if he does? If he doesn't weigh in during his pro day or whatever, then that's different. But maybe he doesn't want to gain any sort of weight now, and he's got a plan in place that's going to put him at a faster, slow trajectory of gaining the right weight at the right time, building muscle structure for it, not just gaining the weight, and then being slower. Like, he wants to do it right. He didn't have enough time to get to the proper weight that he needs to get to have people shut up, and also do it in the right way to be strong and not lose a single ounce of what he wants to do. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that you can look at.
It's just, as long as he cares about it, then that's all I really care about.
Well, he cares. He cares about it. Don't worry. I'll care about it for him. I'll hold my beer. I got this one. All right. Anything else? What do you think about the RBs, man? I mean, I think I mapped it out pretty good. Somebody's gonna have a problem with it, but I think I've tried to explain that literally Trey Benson could be 1, Braylon Allen could be 4, Blake Corum could be 1 or 7. I mean, Jalen Wright could be 1 or 10. Like these guys are too close without a whole lot of elite talent, and that's gonna make them 100% situation dependent.
I mean, so at first I was scared of Estimate because he ran a slow 40 time, but then all his other athletic scores were really good. But in general, Bucky Irving had like a 5-something RAS, which was just like the worst in the whole combine. And that's just like, a lot of people had Bucky as like a top 5 guy at running back, and now it's just like,
yeah, some of that I let affect it. Some of it, the real thing isn't really what score does he have here and what's his breakout age. It's more about how do the teams view him, and if the teams view that as a negative, then he's gonna fall. If he falls, he has a high likelihood of not being drafted as a starter. If he doesn't get drafted as a starter, he's got to climb up, and he's got a shorter amount of time to do it. And there lies the risk and the increased risk. You know what I mean? Frank Gore Jr. likely going very deep in this draft is a big risk. That's why he's like free. He's a 220 overall ranked guy on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty, links in the description. Click that link. But Frank Gore Jr., when I say Frank Gore Jr. is one of my favorite late round running backs to grab, there's zero risk. He's going in the 200s. Zero risk. Okay, I'm not asking anybody to draft Bucky Irving in like the 8th round. I'm saying Frank Gore is like one of your very last picks, round 19. Round 18, 19, or 20, you're drafting Frank Gore. Some drafts don't even go to round 18. So that's zero risk, almost negative risk. And the risk would be that if you were to try and say there's some risk, it would be that the draft capital for him is going to be so low, teams won't care about him. And it's hard. It's usually a little harder for a 4th round plus running back to get a starting job. And even when they get it, they don't normally get a long-term deal because they're coming from the slums of the draft. And so no one truly believes, if you were good, you would have gotten drafted earlier. That's the whole way that people think about it. But at the end of the day, bro, Frank Gore is my dark horse, zero risk guy. Bucky Irvin's going to cost a whole lot more. But the problem is, do teams view him with some of the negatives that you're talking about on top of being 195 pounds? So, I don't know. He's kind of like a change of pace back more than he is a workhorse. Could he be a workhorse? could he put on, 10 pounds at the next level? Sure, he could. But, walking in with some question marks, not being as high on teams' boards coming out of the combine, and then having the weight concern makes me say, okay, yeah, he's 7, 8, 9. Upside, but...
Yeah, no, I don't. I think for the RB class, my biggest takeaway from today is that we do not know at all who the RB1 is in fantasy or dynasty until we know the landing spot.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Theo. Appreciate you. What?
Yeah. All
right, bro. Appreciate you. Later. All right, I might be out of here in just a few minutes here. 137 of you in here, only 60 thumbs up. Wipe your feet, dial in. Let's get a couple more phone calls up in here. Dial in. Actually, I want to stay on let's stay on the quarterback screen. Let's initiate a quarterback call. Where were we at? QBs, there we go. Actually, no, that main screen, we had it all. Frank Gore was drafted in the 3rd round, says Superfish. Yeah, but that's a little bit above that threshold of where the team will give up on you a lot of the time. But I'm not saying every team will. Smart teams will. Kyron Williams won't be given up on. They love him. He's earned it. He's a monster. So great stories do happen. Theo says, smash the thumb up button. Call in people. I can't make all the calls, says Travis. Yeah, Travis has been pulling a lot of the call weight lately. It's the off season, so we do have a little bit fewer people dialing in these days throughout the entirety of the show, but phone lines are open. Dial in. We're getting closer and closer to 25K, by the way, here on the main channel. So please subscribe if for some reason you're watching and you're not. Hit that subscribe button. Do it live. Running back class, location, absolutely. I love when people get mad about my running back rankings and they act like, this thing is going to be, 100%, 100% easy to detect. Blake Corum's number 1, or Smitty, Jonathan Brooks is number 1. He'll be fine. Or Smitty, I can't believe Trey Benson's tied for 4th on your list. Any one of these guys could be the number 1 running back. It just all depends on everything. Can you redo the top 10 overall list this week? Yeah, we could probably do something like that. And then we'll probably do a mock draft. Maybe a mock draft tomorrow. How did Corum look? He looked pretty good, buddy. What's up, DeBolt?
What's going on, Smitty?
Not much, man. Just smashing out some rookie reaction content from the Combine. How about you?
Yeah. Oh, man, I watched it all day, even though I was on call.
I'm trying to chug this water. Go ahead, ask a question.
Now, going to the RBs, I think a lot of questions were answered. Yes, of course, landing spot is everything. But as much as I love Braylon Allen, him not throwing the 40 is not good. And that's because everyone wanted to see his 40. So it kind of throws a flag.
Yeah, it does.
I still love
it does, but he's still got a pro day. He's still got a pro day,
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, most do, but and it's Wisconsin. He's a Big Ten Wisconsin Badger. They always get bully backs all the time. That's kind of what Wisconsin always does. But I still love Marshawn Lloyd the best.
Yeah.
I think he's the only true 3-down back that can do everything and has hands.
Yeah. I mean, I like him. I don't know that I agree with that, but I like him. I have him pretty, I have him on my board.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And this whole Xavier Worthy thing, that's great, but I don't know. I just him not doing the skills. I mean, I would. Okay, he has speed, great, but can you catch? Can you adjust?
For who?
What's your awareness?
For who?
For Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, that I don't know. But as for Braylon Allen, though, bro, I mean, he's got good pass protection, fundamentals, and he can catch the football. He's 245 pounds. He's 6'2". Didn't run the 40. I'm not concerned. He's still number one on my board. I do agree that he didn't crush, but no one else really crushed either. Corum was good. Jalen Wright definitely did well. Benson did very good. There's a lot of guys that did good, but no one like set themselves apart. I feel like Braylon Allen's still got a whole lot of upside, given he's the only running back even remotely close to his build. 6'2", 245. You can't expect him to run a 40-yard dash at the same speed, but he still might do that in some workouts, and we'll see.
He's gonna be a great. He's gonna be great between the tackles. He's gonna get a lot of touchdowns, depending on where he goes, obviously. But I love Braylon Allen. I love Braylon Allen. The whole year, Big Ten guy. I love Big Ten. I watch the Big Ten the most. But just what I saw from Marshawn Lloyd, it did open my eyes. I wanted to see how he would do, and he did real good. But the receivers, Rome just he did great. Like, yeah, okay, people are like, he hit a 440. That's not great. Only is that all receiver does is like run? Aren't they able to have good hands, good awareness, good body control?
What was wrong? Yeah, I don't know why people said that was wrong. What was wrong with his 40? That wasn't bad.
Well, no, not at all. But some are using that as it's not that great.
No, a lot of the announcers are saying that was a good time for him. Like, I don't understand why people were saying that. But Rome was running routes like a monster. Him staying after everybody had already left, and he was still working on his cone drill. Like that was like that was like when the player loses the Super Bowl, like Diggs would do that, and he'd sit out there and watch the other team celebrate, and just stare and make sure he watched it all so he could get hungry for it. Like that was that kind of moment, Dunze's out there like redoing the cone drill. They're like, you don't have to redo it, sir. And he's like, I want to redo it. I want to get a better time. And it's like that's a Dunze, bro. I love that about him.
Yep.
I think a Dunze could be the next Jamar Chase. I really do. I think
he's gonna be himself. I don't think he's gonna be the next. I think he's gonna be the next Rome Dunze. Like,
yeah, but we got a comp. I mean, people like comps. Yeah.
Oh, of course. But
yeah, I mean,
I think it was
everyone's their own player, but I'm just saying, in terms of like level of fantasy football value, he could be Jamar Chase's value. He could eventually be a guy that. And where's Jamar Chase going right now in the draft? He's going like a 5, 6, 7 overall. So like that's where he could go someday. Maybe not right after year 1, but maybe entering year 3. Who the hell knows? But I love Adunze. That's why I moved him to my number 2 overall wide receiver, and I'm not mad about it at all. And I don't care how many people it pisses off. I know Neighbors. There's a lot of Neighbors truthers. A lot of people want Neighbors to be better than Marvin Harrison so bad. Just I don't know what. Sometimes I feel like I don't see it. I like Neighbors a lot. That doesn't mean I hate him, but I don't see where anybody's coming up with that he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's only to be different, and it's only to be in that, like, if it happens, it's going to be like, oh, how'd you know that? Like, they just want to be in that circle for some reason. I don't know how. I think this is the argument that's being had right now, not the argument between, well, I can't even point the right direction. My camera's backwards. Between these two. It's not an argument between these two. It's an argument between these two.
Yep.
In my opinion, you see my vote. I went at Dunze. Dunze is the man. He's 6'3", 215. Do it live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Dunze as well. I wanted to see it today, and when I saw his first 40 at 440, I'm like, okay, I know you can do everything else. I just don't see what he was going to do in the 40, and he did great. So he's definitely one of those cornerstone players you want, because it's not just about him,
Mm-hmm.
So it was a great it was a great combine.
What do you think about Brian Thomas Jr.? Do you think he's closer to Neighbors than people think? I do. I'm not saying he's better necessarily. I just think people aren't giving this man enough credit to be on the same level as him.
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas is great. Like man. Well, I mean, what was his 40? I don't remember. I mean, he did great in the gauntlet.
His 40, I believe, was the third best time. Let's see. 40. Let's see here. 11 fastest 40-yard dash times. Oh, this might be all time. Hold on, let me go to the combine. Let me sort by wide receiver. Give me 1 second. Combine tracker. Let's go. Let me screenshot this bad boy. Wide receivers. Top performers. 40-yard dash. Wide receivers. Takes forever for this thing to sort. Not all time. 2024. Good God. Second fastest time. You know what I'm saying, bro? I just don't know what the... And I know everyone's going to say, where's Mitchell, Smitty? Because he's high on this list, too. And I know a lot of people like Mitchell. I'm going to get a lot of comments. Where's Mitchell? Where's Mitchell on your list? I like him. I don't hate him. He's right there next after Leggett. He's like, that's where Mitchell is going to be found. Here are the 40 times from the wide receivers. Brian Thomas Jr., number 2, 4.33. Number two. And nobody but me is talking about this. Why are people not considering Brian Thomas and Neighbors closer than people are suggesting? They could be on dead even playing field. If not, wouldn't shock me. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to happen yet, but wouldn't shock me if this man was better than Neighbors. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that it's crazy people don't even consider it.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same token, there's one guy he kind of disappointed me a little bit. Was Leggett, considering he dropped 2 passes in the gauntlet. I'm like, oh man, but I love Leggett. Like, you see him, I see AJ Brown when I see him. I see AJ Brown all day with him. He's got the build.
What's this guy even talking about here? Go to NFL stats. Holy shit! What's he saying here? Look at this. Hold on. How are you yapping about draft performances but don't have the numbers pulled up already? Laughing my ass off. What are you talking about, bro? Call in, Alex. Call in. What are you talking about? I've got screen after screen after screen I'm cycling through. And when I'm speaking about something that's showing my ranking, and then I got to find another way back to a certain stat for a certain position to screenshot this, you have no idea what you're doing, bro. Go try a show, Alex. Go try and produce a show where you've got 10, 15, 20 screens going on. You know what you would do, Alex? You'd have one screen with one specific spreadsheet up, like an Excel sheet, Eric. You wouldn't be sifting through anything. I'm going through 15, 20 sheets while you'd probably be dealing with one and struggling. What are you talking about, bro? Get me out of your mind. Laughing my ass off. He doesn't have the exact stat he decided to talk about freaking an hour and 20 minutes into a show randomly with live phone callers as he's cycling through like a magician, screen through screen, caller after caller, doing it all himself like a one-man band. And this dude, yeah, let's set him on a lap. Oh, Smitty, he mentioned a stat he didn't have pulled up yet. Oh, my God.
You're going to get people like that everywhere, Smitty.
I know. It doesn't really
Everybody does.
It doesn't really bother me. It's just like he wants a response, he got one. Like, what do you like? Show me. Nobody's got 8,000 screens up like I do. Unbelievable. Anyway, anything else, bro?
Nah, I really enjoyed the combine. I was saying earlier, and no matter what happens with Justin Fields is going to determine a lot on the draft. It's going to determine a lot, especially with all
it does
these
dictate
QBs.
a lot of potential movement below. And man, I think if Ryan Poles keeps him, it's going to be a debacle. If he trades him, it's going to be a debacle, unfortunately. But we'll see.
I think he's gone.
He'll be. Poles would be better off drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, if it were me, I would trade down. I would trade down to the 3 pick. Give New England their choice of whatever the hell they wanted. Keep Fields, draft Marvin Harrison Jr., and get a future first rounder for the move down. That would be a display of great GMing. You know what I mean? Like, you have an extra first rounder by getting Marvin Harrison Jr. You, instead of getting Caleb, you draft Marvin Harrison. Tell me that doesn't make sense. Would you rather have Fields and Marvin Harrison Jr. and a future first rounder, or would you rather have the second rounder Fields is going to get you and have Caleb Williams? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
They can do so much more if they just trade back and do draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
Fields,
and who knows?
Marvin
they
Harrison
could get
and
someone
a
else at the
future
9.
first. Fields, Marvin Harrison, and a future versus just Caleb.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
But you and I both know they're not going to do that. Well,
who knows?
Foles is not going to do that.
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, Smitty.
All right, later.
See ya.
I mean, think about that, guys. I mean, just look at, like, if you were a good, and maybe he'll try this, but even though I don't know that the GM is the answer that they're bringing it, that they brought in, but if you have this pick and you move down to 3, give New England JD 5, who they probably want, or maybe they want Caleb. Maybe they want Caleb. Man, that would give Caleb to Kingsbury too, if New England did want to trade up for JD 5. But if New England trades up for their quarterback, Chicago trades here. Washington gets their quarterback of choice. You draft as the Chicago Bears that move down to 3, Marvin Harrison Jr. And for this move down from 1 to 3, you could get a future first rounder. It would be crazy. I mean, that's what I would do. I think Neighbors is disrespected. He's close to MHJ. He could be, but so is Thomas. Thomas is close to Neighbors. I think Thomas is disrespected. Thomas had the second fastest 40 time. Amazing jump ball specialist and just a phenomenal player overall. Let me pull up the wide receiver stats. I think I got it right here. No, wait, wrong screen. There we go. I think I got his stats right here. Look at these stats by this guy. Last year, this is Thomas Jr. Neighbors' his counterpart. 1177, 68 receptions, and 17 touchdowns in 2023. Guy's phenomenal. Guy's an absolute gem. Absolute gem. Thousand comments so far. 150 of you are now in here. Only 72 thumbs up. Punch that thumb up button. Let's at least get it over 100. And let's take 1 or 2 more quick callers. We'll keep the phone line short. Dial in. Penix dominated. Penix dominated not only in 2023 in general. He dominated the combine. Penix Jr. was absolutely on fire during the combine. Dial in. Hit that thumb up button, says Superfish. Tomorrow we should have a lot to talk about. I might do a mock draft tomorrow. A rookie only mock draft tomorrow. I might do a video on it. I'm not sure. Stay tuned. We'll do a Dynasty video, a Rumble show. For those that don't know, I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday here on the main channel, youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. I'm also live on the Dynasty channel most nights. We're trying to do it every night. youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football, and then rumble.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Smitty, have you heard Yeah, there's I mean, we just watched all these players. It's not about if I heard about any one specific player. Like, we just watched them all catch, run. They're all on everyone's minds. It's just a matter of, like, are their teams looking at some of these guys, that low? I don't know that they are. So it's like you can't really have much faith in a running back, a wide receiver, or even a quarterback that's not going to get drafted to start. You know what I'm saying? So kind of hard to know what to make of it, I know internet dummies think they know CW, Caleb Williams. It looks like McConkey jumped Corley and Leggett on your rankings. Leggett, not Corley. They're just sitting there tied together is all. But right now it comes down to potential landing spots. You know what I mean? So they all move. Right now you got McConkey. Oh no, I did. I tied Thomas and McConkey. Actually, it should be this. I think I meant to do this. So thank you for pointing that out. McConkey shouldn't be tied with Thomas. He should be tied with... Thank you. I don't know why I didn't notice that earlier. So 5A and 5B. And this is just due to, potential landing spot. I like Corley more. Thank you for pointing that out. So he should not have been tied with McConkey. I like McConkey, but McConkey is tied with Malachi Corley. So good catch. Penix beat Caleb Williams so bad. He had him in tears, says Mark B. Caleb Williams can't hold Penix Jr.'s cup of coffee. Go get Penix Jr. a cup of coffee, Caleb. Do it live. Go do it live. Jaden Daniels is horrible guy. Got benched versus Georgia. Laughing my ass off, says Josh Montez. Okay, Josh. Hey, Josh, go get us a coffee. Jaden Daniels is so bad. he looks so bad when he's out there gunslinging. He's a gunslinger. he's a 1,000-yard rushing quarterback. Let me pull some stats for you. Jaden Daniels. This guy's numbers are out of this world. I got him on one of my screens. Alex is probably losing his mind because I'm looking up yet another stat that I don't have randomly on one of my 25 screens. That on a question that gets asked at random. Why don't you have this stat pulled up already on your hour-and-a-half show? This is Daniels. 38-12, 40 TDs, 4 INTs. What a 20. He sucks. Smitty, he sucks, man. He's really bad. And on top of that, this is what he ran for in 2020. Some people don't know these stats, man. It's crazy when you even refresh your own memory on them. But we've talked about this. I have a screen somewhere where we pulled this up. Look at Jaden Daniels. Where's that comment again? Let's bring that comment back up. Stats don't matter. Watch film. Okay, Josh. I only do this for a living. You're right. I don't watch film. Josh, I've been doing this since you were in diapers. But that's okay. It is what it is. Jaden Daniels is horrible, guy. Got benched versus Georgia 2022. Laughing my ass off. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't realize 38-12, 40 touchdowns with only 4 INTs. Is he getting benched when he throws 4 INTs? He's an absolute master at not turning the football over. Josh, watch some film. It'll show you. Hey, Josh, if you watch film, you'll see only 4 INTs. You'll see only 4 INTs. Hey, Josh, if you watch the film, you'll see Jaden Daniels in 2023 had 1,134 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. Do people understand that this man had 40 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing, 50 total, 4 INTs because he doesn't turn the ball over, even though Josh thinks he's just going to get benched, right? He's so bad. Bench a guy that gets 4 INTs, 38-12 passing. And this guy's horrible. Joke's on me. Joke's on me, Josh. Joke's on me. Maybe I should do something else for a living. Maybe this isn't my calling, Josh. Maybe I've been doing this for 20 plus years and I shouldn't be. Braun, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, Smitty?
What's up, bro? We're always gonna have at least 2 or 3 active haters in the chat, always.
Let them hate, dude. Hit the like button, haters.
Yeah. Hit the thumbs down, Josh.
Thumbs down.
What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, bud? Hey, I didn't catch the earlier the show, and I didn't really catch much of the combine. But what do you think about QB Joe Milton?
I liked it. We talked a little bit about him. He could be like a party trick quarterback though, but like damn, he looked pretty good. Him and Rattler are kind of in the same, same realm potentially.
Yeah, I'm hoping. What round do you think he might go in? Maybe 3rd or 4th? I was hearing 2nd or 3rd. Possibly he might be sneaking up into.
Milton? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we need more from like a pro day or something if they'll even give him that. You know how some political candidates can, they gain some momentum, but they don't even get to make the debate stage. I don't know if Milton's going to make the debate. If he doesn't make the debate stage, then he's not going to the 2nd round. I don't know. Maybe. You never know.
He's probably more of a project too. Probably 3rd rounder, I'm thinking.
I mean, can I ask you an honest question? Did you know much about him at all before the combine? You don't have to be embarrassed. Not many people really follow him.
No, I'm a big Hawks fan, and there was some chatter about him. We could go a different route. I want Penix, hopefully at the 16 if we go that route. But if not, my second favorite right now would be Bowers. Hopefully that would be awesome to get a tight end. I think we could use the help there. And then maybe 3rd or 4th round, or even late 3rd or early 3rd if we trade or do something. We can maybe get a Milton. A few rounds later, we can groom him maybe with Gino there 1 year, and then see what happens a couple years.
Yeah, Joe Milton's he's tough, bro. I don't think he's bad, but like you look at his 23 season. How many games did he play, by the way? Let's just take a look real quick.
I'm not sure.
I just want to make sure we're cranking out stats on a guy that played. Let's see. He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, he had 12 games at least. I mean, these are his stats, man. This is Joe Milton right here for you. And I'm not trying to be a downer on him. His QBR, he's 34th in QBR. 2,800 yards, 20 TDs, only 5 INTs, which is good. That's JD5 type numbers there in terms of the interceptions. But I mean, this isn't something that stood out to me too much where I'm like, this guy, threw 2,800 yards and 20 TDs and all of a sudden he goes and does some party tricks on the field and throws the football 73 yards and everybody gets excited and think, now he's a 2nd rounder.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, bro.
Yeah. No, I don't think 2nd. I think he'll probably end up going probably 3rd or 4th. Maybe somebody could take a chance on him.
He's still a party trick quarterback until he proves otherwise. You know what I mean? Like that his stats in film do not prove him to be in the conversation of even like a Rattler. What's let's pull up his stats. I like
Rattler too. Rattler's nice too. He looked pretty nice today too. So.
Now, granted, he only had 19 TDs and 3,100, so the stats aren't that crazy different. His QBR was actually worse. Yeah. This is not a good example. This is backfire. This is backfiring. I hope Alex isn't here.
How early do you think Penix could go now, Smitty, with his combine performance today?
This is backfiring live. Yeah, Rattler. So Rattler had 3186, 19 TDs, 8 INTs, and a QBR of 45th. But I still like what I see out of Rattler. Milton looks pretty good
Yeah.
though, but I don't think he's climbed it. Rattler's got a lot more NFL support and buzz, so like he's gonna get drafted to potentially be at least in Hendon Hooker's situation, where Hendon Hooker is like set up to be the next man up if something goes awry. So regardless of those stats, that's one component. But when you have that teams looking at you as the next Hendon Hooker value, then you're gonna have an opportunity. Whereas I don't know that Milton will. What was your question?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, like, with Penix Jr.'s performance today on the combine, how early do you think he could be drafted in the draft this year?
Well, I mean, we went over that for a little while on the show. You'll want to rewatch that. Not that I don't mind repeating it, but I just say that like he's locked into that 16 pick where Ryan Grubb, Washington OC, now in Seattle, he's taking him at 16 if he's there. But I think Penix Jr. walked himself into a potential top 10 overall pick.
Yeah, I keep hearing Atlanta too might be interested in him now. And
if he goes to Atlanta,
I think that'd be
I'm
nice
freaking to the moon on that. I'm fine with that. I don't even care if they
Yeah.
trade for Fields anymore. I'd rather have Penix Jr.
Really?
I would.
Yeah.
I would. It is not that I didn't like have maybe not. I don't know. Well, actually, I take that back. In a vacuum, yes. But would I rather have Fields for a second or a couple second rounders and draft a Dunze on top of it? That's a whole different conversation. So at the end of the day,
nice.
give me Fields and a Dunze over just Penix Jr. and whatever. And whatever you get with second rounders. Although you could say that Penix Jr. and Leggett in round 2, Penix Jr. and Corley could be somewhat comparable to Fields and you know what I mean? Like, let's say Dunze doesn't even fall there, and you're doing something different with it. But at the end of the day, I probably am making the trade for Fields for second rounders, even if it was 2, because now I get to draft a Dunze.
That makes sense. I hope Hawks go 16 with Penix, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, Bron.
Worthy too, though. I have one more question. Worthy, did you see Mahomes' tweet about Worthy?
What did you say again? I did see something I forgot.
I don't know. He said something, but he was definitely interested in. I know he always has influence when it comes to picks and stuff.
This is like talking about This is like talking about something that is so far out of the realm of being in front of them to even make a move to even so. It was just probably everybody was hyped. There are a lot of people saying, sheesh. Tyreek Hill was like, sheesh, can you believe that 40-yard run? Like, it was his day. It was his day to shine. It was great to see it.
Right.
But, I mean, I like Worthy. Xavier Worthy's got the most ability to maybe shake free this whole, like, you can't be a good player and be the fastest combine running wide receiver. Because it's like it's almost like the Madden curse, you become that guy and you don't develop at the NFL level. He's got a good ability to maybe do it, but he also weighs soaking wet what Tank Dell weighed, and I don't know that translates every time. Tank Dell was special. Tank Dell was one reception shy of the hat trick of getting the most touchdowns, the most yards, and the most receptions in the college football season out of every college wide receiver in college football. He actually led everybody in touchdowns, led everybody in yards, and was one reception away from having everybody, or I think tying, but being tied for first and having a hat trick. Like that, like Tank Dell was special, and people didn't see him coming for some reason. It's his size, but I mean, I don't just grant people a pass, a weight pass on that. Like, you weigh 165, it's a problem. But you got to be Tank Dell for me to overlook it.
Right. Yeah, you got to be in that perfect situation. I think with Worthy, because he hit, he's just got speed, I guess, for the most part. So I guess if he's in that right situation, possibly. But we'll see where he gets drafted. It'll be interesting to see who gets him and what he can do.
Yep. All right, bro.
All right, Smitty. Good to talk to you, man. Tell Denny I said what's up.
Yeah.
Calm down, Denny.
Yeah, calm down, Denny. All right, later, bro. Travis, what's up? Travis, you're live.
Hey, Milton, he doesn't run either. Everyone wants to compare him to Anthony Richardson because of
he's huge. Because he's huge.
Long throws up and
throws.
He runs a 4.8 40 compared to a 4.4 40. I mean, not to say it's not an interesting project. You know,
I bet I could.
Set him and
I bet I could run a 4.840.
Yeah.
I probably could.
Easy to get excited. Easy to get excited, but it's, you know.
You know what we should do? We should every year, every off season, I should do all of the combine stuff, and then we'll slot me in the middle of everybody and see how far down I am on every list. Pretend I'm a wide receiver.
Oh.
Where do I rank amongst all the wide receivers? In the 40, the bench. I don't know if I could do the shuttle or anything because my knee, I'll snap an ACL. But like forward running, I can do. Bench, I could do. We should do that.
Hey, Brady's faster now than he was at the combine.
Mm-hmm. So. Yep. I started in the business. I started in this business the year before or after, I forget, Brady entered the league.
What?
So we've been when he retired, it made me sad because I was by myself.
How quick do you think you could have ran at your peak? Were you fast?
You know, yeah, I was, but I don't know about what my 40 time would have been. I mean, I ran like, you know,
yeah.
I ran like, you know, 4.5 minute miles, you know, but I
was the opposite.
Yeah, I ran like, you know, 10-minute flat 2 miles. I ran those races. I ran one lap, 400 meter, 800 meter, and then the 1 mile. But I was still quick though. I could still giddy up and go. But I mean, what my specialty wasn't short, 100 yards, 200 meters. It was the full lap. Like I was okay at the 200 meter, which is half the lap. I was okay at that. But where I excelled is once it was a full lap or two. The crazy part is when you run a mile in like 4:30. You're pretty much like almost sprinting the whole thing. You're just dialing it back about 7%. You're running at about 90 to 92%. It's so hard to do for 4 laps around the track. My 100, I didn't run
long distance.
Yeah, I didn't run the 40. I didn't run the 100. The 200 meter, I forget what my time was. I want to say like 23 or something like that, 22, 23 seconds, if I had to guess, something like that. My 1 lap, my 400 meter was like 49, I think, or 49 seconds.
You've insulted Jake.
Why?
You can't run a 4.8. You couldn't do it as an all-state tight end.
So? All-state tight end and track star, 2 different things, Jakey boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know, tight end, or are you talking about like wide receiver? Because two different things. Now I can't run it anymore, but I bet you I could run a sub 5, or it'd be like, we're gonna have to do it. I'll probably be shocked at how slow I am. You know, I'm sure I'm gonna write a check I can't cash, but I know we all remember ourselves a little bit, you know, in our prime, and we don't accept that we've, you know, exited that prime. I've had a few knee injuries, but I bet you with some training I could get sub 5 pretty quickly. I have to drop some LBs for sure, but your boy's pretty quick.
Yeah,
straightforward. I'm quick. I've had a lot of the knee stuff. I don't go left to right anymore. I mean, I can, but I'm afraid I'll tear something. So I don't play intramural basketball anymore. I used to always just, you know, do you know, leagues and stuff like that. But I can't. I'll just tear something. Every time I play basketball now, I tear something like within the second or third game. Yeah, I won't pull hammy. I run every day. I could run about a sub 6 minute mile right now. What'd you say, Travis?
That's still good.
Yeah, I can't run a 4:30.
That's still good.
But yeah, 4:30 miles are out.
Oh, one thing I was going to ask was with McConkey. I haven't watched a ton on him because I don't watch a ton of college football.
You look good.
In terms of like as a player, like obviously they always, you know, match up combine stats. What guys performed like each other. Like him and Garrett Wilson were, eye for an eye, stats-wise at the combine. Is he as explosive as a Garrett Wilson, or is he more of a route runner? Or
he's kind of got it all. He really does. I think people are going to think he's the next Puka Nacua, though. It's so, like, Puka Nacua was a special mix of what McConkey is and situation. So if Puka or if McConkey goes to, like, a place like that and gets spoon-fed, then maybe he could get close or something. But that is such a rare situation, man. I mean, he'll probably go somewhere where they've got a lot of mouths to feed,
Yeah. So why do they compare those two so much? They play similar, or in college, or how can people always compare McConkey and Puka, because they're not the same size?
I mean, a lot of reasons. People like to lump people together and just, hey, he's this type of player. He has this type of ability, has this type of look, and he's that guy. Like, people do that all the time.
Okay.
I don't know that he definitely feels like he has the ability to be very Puka-like, but he will not be Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua was just on a whole nother level, that could never probably be replicated. I mean, he's record-breaking level. So Lad could go, he could go somewhere solid and become a, God, I want to see like a high wide receiver 2 in fantasy. I think he could do that. Maybe even his rookie year. I don't know if he'll play like that all day long, but maybe by mid-season, and then maybe if you just look at some total of his last 8 games, he's playing at a high-end wide receiver 2 level, but maybe it took him a little while to get there. Yeah. I like Ladd a lot, but he definitely can't. He definitely has got to find like a miracle to get just peppered like Puka Nacua did. It's very rare.
Puka, in terms of numbers, like 105 receptions, 1486 yards. How many wide receivers do that every year at all?
How many? In their career ever.
Yeah. I mean, that could be his career year. I'm not saying he can't do it again, but you don't know. It's hard to replicate those seasons. So.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Travis?
No, I was just calling it quick. You said you think we'll do something tomorrow night too.
Yeah, well, tomorrow daytime we should be as well. We'll be dropping some content tomorrow. Probably do a live of some sorts. We'll probably do a mock draft, rookie mock draft, I'd imagine.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I do think. I'm glad Thomas performed well, because I've been really high on him all year, and I like him a lot. I think he kind of been living in the shadow of Neighbors, So good to see him get a little shine.
Yeah. All right, bro.
All right.
I'll see you later.
Talk to you later.
Hey guys, I'm out of here. I'm falling asleep at the wheel here anyway. 145 of you in here. 80 thumbs up. Hit that thumb up button on your way in the door or out the door. Appreciate you all being here. Thanks for watching my 2-hour reaction show to the combine and the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, and I appreciate you all. Punch the thumb up button. See you tomorrow. Subscribe if you're new, and don't forget all 3 of my channels are in the description of this video. The Dynasty channel, youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. We're going to go live on that tomorrow. This channel you're watching right now, make sure you're subscribed. youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Hit the like button on the way out the door, and don't forget to subscribe to the Rumble Show, rumble.com/The Fantasy Football Show. I'll see you all later. Jake dropping a $5 watt on screen. When is this 40? When is this 40? You guys called me out that a 4.8 isn't hard. Night, boys. I don't know. I have to train for it, though, Jake. I did say that. I might be able to do like a 40-yard dash like months from now and still tie it in. You know, I don't know that I have to wait until next year. Thanks, Travis, for moderating. Thanks, everybody, for being here, DeBalt. Appreciate you all. Deuces.